Morty's dog gave me a dealer's choice donation deck list. Thank you as always for the support. And you know what that means? It's time for some sweet, sweet jank. I've been saving this one for a while. I hope you enjoy it. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and this is going to be the last one I record before I go to Vegas. So this is a deck that we played against on the channel a couple months back, I think in February, and the creator was TES Jesus, who plays this list in paper. This is very much considered a pet project of theirs. And I'm actually bringing this out right now for tactical reasons. I just skimmed an article by Joe Dyer, which seemed to indicate that roughly 30% of Legacy decks right now are playing Flow State. And presumably when you are playing it as a 4 of. And so there's a relatively large emphasis right now on graveyards in Legacy. So playing a deck that has main deck Dalthy Voidwalker and Leyline of the Void to potentially check graveyards sounds very, very intriguing to me. And these cards are going to cover other important things in Legacy right now, like the Oops All Spells deck, and, it lessens the impact of a Barrow-Goyf, although we are playing our own Barrow-Goyfs as well, makes Murktide Regent very hard to cast, and so on and so forth. This is a very, very neat deck with a bunch of silver bullets. You will notice some absolute all-star black enchantments here in the form of Nether Void as well as the Abyss. So we can have the ability to effectively counter most spells that our opponents would cast. Let's take something like a Flow State. That costs 2 mana base plus an additional 3, or it gets countered by Nether Void. This is just massively making the blue cantrip suite of Legacy considerably worse. And we can have a repeated destruction card for creatures for decks like Energy, although at some point they might just have enough cats that they kill you anyway. And we get to play all of these silver bullets because we are rocking a playset of Beseech the Mirror. And so we can sacrifice some artifact or creature that we have to go and tutor up one of these silver bullets. And we have some other things here like the One Ring and Karn and Helm of Obedience to combo with our Leylines as well. The mana base is what I might call ambitious. We have 4 Urza Saga, 4 Ancient Tomb, 2 City of Traders, but we also have a black card in the form of Beseech the Mirror. So Urborgs are definitely going to do some heavy lifting today. And Urborg is what realistically makes Dalthy Voidwalker castable as a turn 2 card. We also do have artifacts here, or artifact lands here, because we care about sacrificing artifacts, enchantments, or tokens to Beseech the Mirror. So we can go and sacrifice our creature token from Orcish Bowmasters to do the Beseech the Mirror thing. And then we also just do have some backdoor combos within the deck that we can potentially assemble with Beseech the Mirror as well. As far as the sideboard goes, there is what I refer to as the man plan as a backup plan here, where you could sideboard in up to 8 additional creatures and just go crazy on trying to aggro your opponent down. So if you find that some portion of this deck is just simply not going to be effective for one way or another, you do have a decent amount of ability to adjust your deck here. We also have Gix. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may pay 1 life. If they do, draw a card. And technically there is a 7 mana ability as well, where you can discard X cards to exile the top X cards of target's opponent's library. You may play lands and cast spells from among the cards exiled this way without paying their mana costs, although I think that is largely going to be flavor text here. A singleton Damnation might look a little weird on the surface, but remember we are a 4x Beseech the Mirror deck, and then the artifacts in the sideboard are for Karn. So we can search for Karn with Beseech and then potentially use Karn to find Helm, Pager, Servant, Grindstone, or potentially Painter and Grindstone over a couple of turns. So this is some really neat deck building. I hope that it is respectable. And I'm headed to Vegas. I'm looking forward to seeing the folks at the TOAmagic.com booth. They've got some goodies there waiting for me, and I am rather excited. I'm going to be giving away a bunch of stuff in Vegas. And if you decide that you'd like to support them, because they support people like me, use promo code ThrabenU at your online checkout to save a little bit on your order. All right, let's battle. All right. First opening hand here only has an Ancient Tomb for mana. We can't cast these Dark Rituals, so this is going to be no good. The second one seems reasonable. I'm going to keep it. I think I want to ram the Abyss out there on turn 2. I think I'm going to get rid of Bowmasters. What if my opponent is on Oops in game 1, and I just give them the middle finger here? Wouldn't that bring joy to my cold dead heart? Likelihood of opponent being on Oops has pretty significantly dropped as my opponent plays a land. Probably not Oops all spells anymore. Could be Doomsday. Low state Doomsday looks to be a pretty well positioned and strong flow state deck based on initial results. Could be Dimir Tempo though. Dimir Tempo seems to be all over the place right now. And I'm going to take that as confirmation that this is Dimir Tempo. And my Leyline of the Void is probably quietly doing a lot of work here versus the, Nether, Goyf, Murktide Regent style threats, although we don't have anything for something like a Tameo as of right now. So opponent gets their redraws, and I find a Douthie Voidwalker, which fully is not castable right now. So I believe I'm just going to go ahead and put that under my Chrome Mox. And I will go ahead and Thoughtseize my opponent. Nice. I will take a Force of Will. Unfortunately, my opponent has a Wasteland, which will slow down me deploying this Abyss by quite a bit. But then again, my opponent's tempo-oriented threats are dead in the water, so... And they are Grixis, though. I just imagine this gets snapped off at the speed of light. Yep. My opponent will put this into play. Presumably they have things like Brazen Borrower that can eventually take out a Leyline. I will redeploy an Ancient Tomb. Volcanic Island comes down. DRC, significantly less good with a Leyline in play. There is one unknown card. I might just take the turn here to Thoughtseize my opponent and make sure that the Abyss resolves. That seems well worth a couple of points of damage here. All right. Cool. Take Force of Will. I think I don't drop this land. So it is now impossible for my opponent to have Force of Will blue card, and I will naturally play the Abyss around Daze here. I'll take a little bit of damage from my Ancient Tomb, and then the Abyss, realistically speaking, should solo this game. I don't know, maybe with Thoughtseize being in my opponent's deck, my decision was not the wisest. Maybe that's tempting fate, and I just jam into potential Force of Will instead, as to not get got by a drawn Thoughtseize. So I believe my opponent gets to choose here. So they will start yeeting their Nether Goyfs. Which is honestly nice, because if they do eventually find something that takes Leyline out of play, I am happy that these aren't around, even if it means that DRC gets a couple points of damage in. Chrome Mox doesn't do anything immediately. It might do some stuff in the future. Lightning Bolt my face. I am down to 9. Opponent says no to a Force of Will there. Next Nether Goyf goes away to the trigger. Oh, there's the Thoughtseize that I talked about. Opponent keeps the next card. Douthie Voidwalker goes away. Maybe I'm always putting Douthie under Chrome Mox because of the Abyss. Maybe I should have just done that. I will take 1. I am at 8. Abyss trigger. Snow-covered swamp. Don't think I need to play that immediately. Alright, so now Abyss kills DRC. But the next card was something that my opponent kept on top. That is a flow state, so my opponent gets to look at a couple of cards, but the Leyline of the Void means that they are not maximizing their value here. So, great, theory happening in practice situation. I may be reaching the point where I just play lands out. I do just have things like Urza's Saga that are potentially coming that I would want to deploy, and I would like to have other lands out before that happens. Untapped land. Lightning bolt. Sure. Is your plan find and cast all 4 lightning bolts? It's rough if that has to be your plan. Alright, wasteland is a thing. Opponent not going after my ancient tomb. If I play vault, it just gets wastelanded immediately, I think. This is where drawing an Urborg could be kind of nice to give the ancient tombs more functionality. Opponent passing the turn here. I have flooded out. Hopefully that's fine. Okay, opponent not interested in going after vault. Sure, they drop another land. Good, honest draw go magic here. You love to see it. Orcish Bowmasters is cool. Kind of. There's some issues with the card currently, but I might tag a Brainstorm or something and get a few points of damage off of it. Nevertheless, I don't even think I play it unless it's going to be a removal spell or a 1/1 creature. Hey, it's Urborg. That one I'll hold. That's a primo wasteland target. Over under on turn counter. We are at 12 as of now. Ooh, buddy. I'm obviously into this card. I think I go Chrome Mox with no imprint. Drop Urborg. Cast with Bargain. We'll just do regular black on these. Sacrifice the Chrome Mox that does not have anything under it. See if this resolves. We're certainly in hardcast Force of Will time. Yeah, that's fine. There's not very many of those left, right? 1, 2, 3. There's none of those left. So from here, I just need to be cognizant of days. That's it. That is a flow state. That is not a draw for Orcish Bowmasters, notably. Yeah, that's not unexpected. No covered swamp. So now I have 4 drops through days without putting myself into lightning bolt range. Turn 14. Last turn. We're here for a long time, not a good time. Stacks life, baby. That's another Chrome Mox. Not what I'm looking for. That's a lightning bolt. I'm at 2. So 1 lightning bolt remains in the deck. I do have a pile of Barrowglyphs that could technically gain me some life, although we might have to do a little bit of a dance to get that to happen. Urza Saga. Big get. Again, the Abyss is non-artifact creature. So my artifact creature is A-okay and fine. No Surveil land to fetch. That is Petty Theft on the Abyss. Yep. So now my opponent will cast their Brazen Borrower, and this Orcish Bowmasters that I've been holding for the last umpteenth turns now becomes relevant. Oop. Ding ya. Dead. And I now don't kill my own things to the Abyss. If opponent has a couple of creatures, though, they can take this as their chance to play out those creatures somewhat safely. They will need a couple. Snow-covered swamp comes down. Here is the Abyss. That is a daze, which I think I pay for, despite the fact that, like, Urza Saga token is quite strong here. That's a turn 16 daze that was somewhat relevant. And at this point, I will just go ahead and chill here in case something goes wrong. Now we can kill DRC with this. Opponent's now passing the turn. I will take out my Orc Army token. Helm of Obedience should be a kill here. What are my things I can get? Grindstone and Lava Spur Boots. Oh, all the Force of Wills are gone. This is just a kill, I think. I will show Grindstone. There is Helm of Obedience. Turn 17 win. Turn 17 win for the stack as a treat. All right, in play. I'll pass the turn here, and I'll do this in upkeep in case there's something that interacts with this in some capacity. I'm not interested in attacking. This is not a game about life totals. Well, I mean, it's about my life total. Opponent appears to have something that interacts in some way. Helm. Target you. Pay 1. Actually, I'm going to pay the full 3. If my opponent bounces a Leyline and I happen to mill through that last lightning bolt, I'm happy. I think if they have Brazen Borrower, they just bounce Leyline of the Void or something and they end up dying. All right, they're letting me view their whole deck. Appreciate that. I now get to see that Molten Collapse is there. That's some cool information. Couple Bowmasters. All right. GG. Turn 18 win. Good magic. 18 times more magic than the average game versus Oops All spells. In games that go this long, I'm not interested in Thoughtseize. It's a pretty bad top deck, and individual points of life are very, very valuable in this matchup, as we just saw. Pithing Needle is interesting. Boarding in some creatures to just have more things that can block is interesting. I'm not always going to just get to open up on the Abyss like I just did there. Thoughtseize clearing the way for the Abyss was quite good. Again, I don't know that that's the norm, and I think my life total is valuable. I'm interested in Damnation as a tutor target for Beseech. I think I'm interested in Pithing Needle on Wasteland. My Urza Sagas are theoretically pretty good, although I don't have Lifelink as one of the options that I can tutor up with it. I think these three pretty much always just live in the sideboard unless something gets a little weird. I don't know about the last slot. One Thoughtseize feels weird. One Opposition Agent for good luck. Absolutely not. Well, I have the Abyss again. I also have Nether Void. I think I'm going to keep this and hope to draw more mana. Douthy's a little hard to cast right now. I will get rid of Douthie. So a Thoughtseize taking my Chrome Mox is pretty disastrous. It is a Nether Goyf. Sure. That is not a Daze land. Ooh. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana on turn 1. Douthie would have become rather good. Here is Chrome Mox. Oh, that resolved so quickly. I think I'm getting rid of Beseech. Play Urza's Saga. Dark Ritual. I'm going to play the Abyss first. Abyss Gaming, baby. Blue player, why did you not simply have a counter spell? You fool. How do you feel about another 16 turns or so of quality Magic the Gathering TM play? Yeah, you can flow state. Island is now online. Douthie is here. Dark Ritual. Nether Void. Oh fuck, they're chant worlds. Fuck. Alright. Very, very old rules here. A singular world enchantment can be in play at the same time. So when I played the second world enchantment, it legend ruled the first. That was my bad. I've not played two different enchant worlds in the same deck in many, many years. All right. Here is Chrome Mox, Imprint, Beseech. Douthie costs 5. We're not there. I fucked up this game, though. I hope I can recover from this. That was a very, very bad mistake. And I should have planned around that better. Like, I can do different Chrome Mox imprinting thing if I'm pretty sure that the Abyss is going to just resolve. Yeah, so now DRC is just in play with 3 mana. Oh, that was so bad. All right, well, when I draw another land, I can get another Chrome Mox set up for Urza Saga. An opponent has plenty of mana. They can now do their 2 mana stuff through Nether Void. Lightning Bolt. Opponent just wants the instant in graveyard to turn this into a 3/3. I'm at 17 and then 14. I'm pretty sure I punted this game away by killing my Abyss. It is too late for Leyline. I will take 3. I am at 11. Opponent just passes turn. I don't get to play cards. This is the classic experience of like getting wastelanded after you play Trinisphere. I'm at 10. I take 5 and go to 5, and at this point I think I'm just dead. Opponent had all the land in the world. Yeah, I think I just punted this one by destroying my own spell. GG. We move to the next game. Do I want Thoughtseizes now? Only got 3 of them. We're upset at Nether Void. Nether Void's in timeout. I could get rid of the Painter Grindstone combo. Keep 1 opposition agent or unstoppable slasher. I don't know. 2 Thoughtseizes. Yeah, this is solid. So open up on Leyline. Start on Thoughtseize. Got 2 cards with it. Presumably that means something incredibly important like Brazen Borrower is in my opponent's hand. And they just can't let that go. Bobble, sure. Opponent fetches. And has their own Thoughtseize. I don't know what you take if you are the opponent without knowing their hand. Like, Pithing Needle on Wasteland is incredibly good. Orcish Bowmasters is Orcish Bowmasters in a blue matchup, and Barrowgoyf is an insane card once it is past 3 toughness, and Lightning Bolt doesn't kill it anymore. Opponent gets 1 redraw, just 100% confirmed. And I think I am into Pithing Needle on Wasteland since I only have 2 lands. Let's just shut off that angle. If my opponent casts some cantrips here, so be it, but we are probably locking in for a longer game. And if this Leyline is going to get bounced, I want to have the ability to recast it, which means please don't destroy my lands. All right, opponent's just going to pass. I'd just like to draw a land here, I think. That is the literal land that I wanted. Beautiful. I will pass turn with the intention of playing Orcish Bowmasters at my opponent's end step. Yes. What about playing Orcish Bowmasters now while they're tapped out? So they can't brainstorm in response to me doing this later. I think I'm into that. Opponent to 15. There is a flow state, but Leyline kept 5 cards from going to the graveyard, so this would be a flow state that was drawing 2 cards, and instead it's getting 1. So we'll take it. Vault of Whispers is an okay pickup. I think I'm just going to extract my value from Urza's Saga, rather than playing a Dazeable Leyline of the Void here. I believe that I am firmly in the beatdown seat right now. My opponent's at 13 life, and I imagine that my Urza Saga tokens are going to be bigger than things like Nethergoyf. We'll see if my opponent has anything tricksy, like a dress down that kills both Urza Saga tokens at the same time would be wild, for example. Token. The Lightning Bolt is live. Yep. Another Leyline is not optimal. I will make a friend. That's a 3/3. I'm gonna get Grindstone. I have a Painter in hand. This doesn't optimize my damage, but gives me another backdoor win for if my construct token does not end up being good enough for the win. Alright, that is a flow state that is taking 2 cards. Doesn't take much. And again, flow state doesn't draw cards, so my opponent has not gotten pinged by Orcish Bowmasters yet. And they have their own Orcish Bowmasters. Sure thing. That will buy them time against my whole construct token deal. Nothing says good old legacy gameplay like Orcish Bowmastering and Orcish Bowmasters. Ping your Bowmasters with my Bowmasters after you Bowmastered my Bowmasters first. Our Bowmasters kiss. It's hot. Then we get a chump block. Opponent takes 2 and is down to 7. Bobble is a desperation play. You got to do what you got to do sometimes, but it is going to grow my orc and ping my opponent for 1 if they don't do something about it. There's another flow state for 2 cards. Opponent's Force of Will at the beginning of the game on Thoughtseize so that they can protect Brazen Borrower. Looking pretty smart as of right now. There's a Lightning Bolt on Bowmasters. Okay. Nethergoyf is big as of right now. An opponent took Bowmasters off the board, meaning their Bobble draw can go through successfully. Snow-covered Swamp. I think I'm just going to cast this. I don't care if it doesn't resolve. Alright, it does resolve. And I'll chill for a little while here. This will eventually be larger than Nethergoyf. My opponent has burned most of their flow states. And I'd like to play Painter in theory on 6 mana, where I do Painter around days and then activate Grindstone. That's kind of the dream. There's like Thoughtseizes and Force of Wills to think about as well, though. Brainstorm again. Oh, wow. Opponent is going aggro. I will let them hit me here. This means that they are going to play a new blocker. Might be something like a Murktide Regent. It is another Nethergoyf. Sure. Beseech is cool. I can sack an enchantment, right? Yeah. I think I just sack my Leyline. Thank you for your service, Leyline. Immediate Force of Will. That's fine. This is how I'm planning on winning this game. It's a little crazy with my opponent at 5 life, but like this is the plan. So Beseech was bait. So now next turn, if I draw a mana source, I play Painter and then kill my opponent. I am okay preserving my life total here, I think. I will take a chump. Makes me a little worse versus something like a Sheoldred's Edict that can now take out the construct token and couldn't a second ago. Okay, I mean, that's not quite the mana source I had in mind, but alright. Dark Ritual, Painter's Servant. Everything is red. You know what? I'll paint it black. We'll paint it black for the song and snuff out, I guess. And I will activate this in upkeep. Sure. I guess I could do it now. I'll do it on my opponent's turn. Still, I think. We're grinding. Oh, beautiful. Nice, easy turn 9 win. Made up for the fact that I forgot about Enchant World. Ooh, didn't fumble that one. GG. Today's video is sponsored by moxfield.com. If you're looking to store your decks online, you're not going to find a better website. It's super organized and easy to use, and I sort everything that I do into a ton of format-specific folders, and you can customize the way that you use Moxfield to your liking. Whether you like text views or visual views of multiple different natures, Moxfield has it all. And it's so easy to use, you might even say that it's a snap. I have a little bit of a weird hand here that I think I'm going to keep. Playing it out is a little weird. I think despite the fact that I have this Dark Ritual here, I just play Swamp and pass. I could alternatively Karn Mox imprint Dark Ritual and play Douthie. Alright. I don't hate that. Let's Douthie. Once the Dark Ritual is under here, Beseech slows down because I need black, black, black for Beseech. So the 4 mana immediately doesn't necessarily do the thing that I would like it to do. I guess that's fine. I found something else to do with my mana. In with Douthie. On it to 17. And I think I'm just going to jam this immediately. I don't want the disastrous fail case of Brainstorm in response to me casting Orcish Bowmasters, which flips Tamiyo. Potentially playing against something in the blue-white Stoneblade ballpark. Opponent can full-on die this turn to Beseech. I think I'm going to cast this with Bargain, leaving 1 mana floating, sacrificing the Orc Army token here. Helm? Like, I can just go for the throat here. I think I'm into it. Cast Helm. Yeah. Dead. Full-on dead on turn 3. Lucky on my end, honestly. That was no counter spells and no bot removal either. On his hand, just full of fucking dogs and riddlers or something. GG. So, what do I want to do here in terms of sideboarding? I can become super creature dense if that's the route that I want to go. I think I'm interested in seeing what that looks like if I just go like Junk, Painter, Grindstone combo. Leylines probably aren't great here. Junk, Leyline, Helm combo. This is 7 of the 9 that I could be bringing in. Probably keep 1 ring. I'm considering Karn. I guess I could get rid of the Abyss if I'm going to be playing mostly the man plan. Get rid of Karn. Beseech is largely for the 1 ring now. And the annoying Nether Void to a lesser extent. I think I like Pithing Needle for Tamiyo. -1 Beseech. Alright, that looks reasonable. It may just be that Tamiyo is scary enough that I don't go up on creatures. No? I think no. Second one's fine. I think I will keep this and give my opponent 1 turn of breathing room. I think it's about density here. Tamiyo has unfortunately arrived. Alright. I didn't want to do this, but I think I'm here now. They know to fetch lands. Fetch lands. Not even once. Unless you're on the play, then you get 1. Ah! Island comes back down. Opponent ponders. And then Tamiyo gets to make a clue. Well, I have a bunch of Unstoppable Slasher going on. I will play around Daze, I suppose. Scalding Tarn comes down. Opponent fetches. And that is a flow state that is already online. We'll see how my opponent feels about losing half of their life total. Tamiyo is in chump block mode. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Alright. Love that for me. A new Unstoppable Slasher. That is a force of will. I will do Lava Spur Boots. I will equip my boots to the Slasher. And I will destroy target Tamiyo. Alright. Now, opponent's deck as a white deck is pretty good at removing Unstoppable Slasher, but I did just give this creature Ward, so that counts for something. Snapcaster Mage can block, and my opponent gets a Ponder to look for removal for the Slasher itself. That's a shuffle. That's pretty good for me. In and destroy target Snapcaster Mage. Excellent. My Unstoppable Slasher has gotten 2 cards worth of value already, and I get a decent-sized Construct token with haste next turn as well, potentially. This is a lot of pressure. A little weird taking the ward off of this because the ward is quite good there. So what I will probably end up doing is remove the ward from this to get the haste attack in, and then tap Ancient Tomb via Urborg. Alright, there's a flow state to return the ward. Also, how much damage would I actually get by doing the Urza Saga? Well, I guess now the ward one isn't relevant if my opponent hits the land drop. Volcanic Island. Alright, that's a chump blocker. Sure thing. So, make a friend, equip a friend, send in with both. An opponent will presumably block the Slasher. Fantastic. Ooh, we're getting tricksy. I have a Pithing Needle for Tamiyo, so that's not the end of the world. Opponent takes some damage, and then I will go ahead and move the ward back over here. And I'm just looking to kind of get across the finish line here before my opponent can keep casting cards that look like Flow State or find a crazy Haymaker like a Supreme Verdict or Wrath of the Skies for a large number or something like that. That was a shuffle on that Ponder, by the way. We have a new Brainstorm. Surveil Land can take one of the cards from that Brainstorm and send them to bin. Caracas goes away. Opponent passes turn. Barrocoif is great. I will make a friend. Those are 4/4s. I will get Pithing Needle. We need to name the Planeswalker side. Seasoned Scholar here. Think I am fine moving my haste over here. Or more importantly, my ward over there. In everything at opponent's life total directly. Tamiyo trigger does stuff. Ooh, it's a dress down. That's very good. That removes my lose half your life total ability here. That's a big deal. That just saved my opponent so much life. Legend Rule in Urborg. Play this out immediately, which I think is fine. Like, Daze is a card that exists, but I have some very large cards that I might need to draw and play and potentially give haste, so I think this is okay. Good enough for Force of Will. Pitching Flow State. Sure thing. Opponent's multiple flow states this game, absolutely keeping them alive. Oh, did we reach the point where it's just massive Wrath of the Skies and I'm sad? Oh, it's 4th Aerlingas. I think you just attack with 1 and get the Monarch there. Yep, totally reasonable. Weird draw. Bam. King face. Token gets haste. Send at face. Send at face. See how opponent feels about that. It's probably 1 block on each. That's what makes sense to me. They lose 2 tokens. I will then move these boots to Bowmasters and call it a turn. My opponents threw half their deck, and I don't think they have seen a white removal spell yet, so kind of was expecting that at any moment. Tamiyo is now a disaster. Tamiyo can now minus and get back swords and to take out Unstoppable Slasher as well. And my opponent's still the Monarch. What a terrible turn. Ugh. We were doing so well. Slightly surprised to just see that cycled there rather than being held as a draw 3. I guess if you have the Monarch, that's a lot less relevant. Now we're in this, like, miserable, my opponent has flow states and active Tamiyo and Tamiyo that can pick up flow state nonsense loop. And my opponent just gets an extra Monarch card every turn. Ugh. So I suspect this is over, and it just takes a while for the game to literally be closed out. Opponent is bouncing a Chrome Mox. I don't know that that's better than just a fairy plussing and holding the bounce for something more relevant. I am at 12. Well, there's a Barogoyf. There's haste for a Barogoyf. My opponent made this attack though, so like, I'm not expecting anything out of that. And cycling a clue. The fairy pluses. See if Tamiyo pluses. Tamiyo returns 4th Aerlingas. That's probably pretty close to lethal. So that is 14 damage. So I'm not dead to that, but I'm dead the following turn. So I will take a bunch of damage. Opponent's the Monarch. That is unfortunate. GG. So do I still want to approach this in my pile of creatures way? Or do I want to shift back to Leyline Helm combo? My opponent barely stabilized and had to throw away a bunch of resources to not just outright lose to Unstoppable Slasher. They did win, but the vast majority of that game felt good for me. I'm gonna run back the same plan. Well, I sure don't cast spells, but I don't think that matters, oddly. Like, my opponent probably has 1, maybe 2 dress downs, and I can potentially get haste for my construct tokens as well. That card's here. Slasher. Once I have my source of haste in play, some of these cards like Barogoyf and Unstoppable Slasher can be kind of gross as well. So like, there's definitely upside to just doing early Urza's Saga. Someday we won't have to deal with turn 1 Tamiyo. That day is not today, and that day probably won't come for a little while. I don't expect this one to be around Legacy forever. Wow, that's such incredibly bad luck for me. That's so bad. I now need to Chrome Mox to do what I want to do. By Douthie. Hello, Urza Saga. Boots. Equip boots. Ready for natural dress down? My body's ready. How much of this damage do I actually get? Natural dress down in opening hand. All right. Enjoy your 2 mana, gain 9 life, draw a card. Tamiyo will acquire more clues, and Tamiyo becomes a creature. So to attempt my haste there, I had to get Chrome Mox, and I think the haste was very important for the times where my opponent does not naturally just have the dress down. But it's very frustrating because it means that I'm not getting Pithing Needle immediately as well. Like, you can't have it all. I can't get Boots and Pithing Needle or anything. Null Rod. Excellent. Everything's going fucking great. Now I don't get haste to attack this Tamiyo either. Alright. And my 1 ring doesn't do things. And I'm a black deck, so I don't really remove Null Rod. Opponent ponders. Tamiyo to 6. Which I'm hoping Pithing Needle just deals with. I'm at 14. This is a 3/3 now. Activate again. It's a 4/4. Sure. Why is this happening with this timing? Not sure that I understand. So Pithing Needle. Name Planeswalker Tamiyo. Go to combat. 5 at face. That becomes 4 from Tamiyo trigger. Opponent is going to absorb that. Land drop. Opponent to 18. 5 mana, hardcast Lorien revealed. Sure. Alright. 10 damage at my opponent's face. And I believe I am going for that over killing Tamiyo. I don't think I get to just pass on 10 points of damage. Opponent to 8. Here's another Urza's Saga. Did I miss? I might have missed 2 points of damage right there. Like, I was just thinking of this as not a live card because of Null Rod. I think I'm going to value my life points here, especially since I already missed the damage. My current problem is that with 7 cards in hand and then an 8th once the Ponder resolves, my opponent's pretty likely to be able to keep up with 2 construct tokens with, like, Swords, Erode, Prismatic Ending type cards. Yep. Ugh, I'm so sick of this shit. The Prismatic Ending minus Prismatic Ending, or, you know, Swords twice or Force of Will twice, whatever, is very, very frustrating. So, like, now, if there's another piece of removal, my opponent removes this last construct token, And then as a live Tamiyo. There's a land drop, which means 2 mana things are online. Hey, love that. I have not drawn a black source the entire game. This has been an incredibly frustrating game. 4th Aerlingas now. I mean, also just disastrous, right? Wait, is there an instant in graveyard? Actually, I think that's mostly sorceries over there. Hey, a black source. Isn't that a joy? Scalding Tarn comes down. Tamiyo pluses. Opponent to 6. Seems like this is 4th Aerlingas, and I just literally die to it. Yep, that is 12 damage. That's a frustrating loss. So that was natural dress down in opening hand when I was presenting like 11 damage on turn 3, followed by Null Rod in hand, which my opponent did not dig for. Such is life, though. GG's. We'll try again next round. This is a funky looking hand. So I have turn 0 Leyline, and then I have turn 2 Karn, which can get Helm. I think I'm gonna keep this. It's weird. I'm a little uncomfortable with colorless heavy hands here because I have stuff like this, and I also have double enchant world, but, you know, we'll just draw Chrome Mox and it'll be fine. Leyline in play, and I think I will go ahead and take 1 and play this out immediately, because there are times where I end up wanting the Painter Grindstone combo, I suppose. Misty Rainforest, Volcanic Island, and Ponder. So this is now the question, are we playing against a tempo deck, or are we playing against Sneak and Show? And I guess I have some things for either. Oh, to just draw a black source. What is Daze, and why would I ever be afraid of it? Force of Will pitching Murktide. Murktide Regent, probably a pretty dead card at this point. I would like to get a couple things into my own graveyard so that Barrowgoyf is outside of Lightning Bolt range. That now seems like something that's gonna matter. Alright. Good news is, technically have a win condition in play. The bad news is, it costs me 2 life to mill 3 of my opponent's cards. So I think we will simply not. Let's see if they always have the Brazen Borrower applies. Savannah. Okay, this is not the direction that I thought we were going. I'm losing Grindstone, which is cool, because I only have 2 painters in the 75, and one of them is in the sideboard, so I guess I'm happy to keep my Leyline there, and make it harder for my opponent to actually just Murktide. Fuck this card. Now my opponent is the Monarch, and my deck has not been very consistent at spitting up black mana. Thank you, deck. I don't know if I should be mulliganing hands that can just produce turn 2 Karn. Feels like the answer is no, but like, this is the 2nd game in a row where my deck has just, like, absolutely pooped itself in terms of being able to cast its spells. Maybe the colorless lands are just bad. Okay, not bad, but, like, maybe City of Traders is a step too far, given all of the black pips in this deck. I have not been happy with City of Traders thus far. Tamiyo as well. If I miss on my next draw step, I'm just going to concede. I'm so far behind with Tamiyo and Monarch here. All right. City of Traders. Play Vault. This turn, I would like to play a 4-mana card. I'm going to go with the Abyss. It is my hope that my opponent counters this, and that this does not resolve, as this is how I am intending on winning the game. Bait was not successful. Bait was successful? Yes. Cool. The Barrowgoyfs are only 2/3s. I am just drowning in cards here. My opponent is getting 3 cards a turn. Draw step plus Clue plus Monarch. And I'm also just dying to the Human Knight token, and the Planeswalker is here. And Beans. Okay, we're dead. I think even with Tamiyo not having access to a graveyard, this is still disastrous. I'll play it out, I guess, but it's so unrealistic for me to win from this life total and resource deficiency. Yeah. Okay, we can stop there. That's 4 damage plus blinky nonsense. That was a beating. Ugh, GG. Against the Beanstalk opponent, I think I'm into leaving my combos in the deck. Kind of still want opposition agents to muck with their lands. Maybe that's just not going to line up well versus the pile of removal spells. Get a Pithing Needle for ThrabenU in there. That's not going to fucking do anything. Who am I kidding? That's not going to do anything. We saw that last round. I'm going to resubmit the game 1 deck. So I can play Thoughtseize on turn 1 and potentially play the Abyss. I'm not overly excited about this hand. I think my opponent just outvalues this. This is more interesting. Let's plot this out. Land, Thoughtseize, Ancient Tomb, Barrowgoyf. Turn 3, start Urza Saga stuff. Seems fine. Could also swamp Dark Ritual, Thoughtseize, Dauthi Voidwalker in some order. I think I'm going to keep the 3 lands. One of these 2 cards goes back. The Dauthi is not castable off of these lands. I'm going to just keep the Dark Ritual. Swamp. Thoughtseize. Those are good cards. Tamiyo and the Beans are both annoying. Tamiyo comes down faster, and there's Brainstorm for it as well. I'm going to take the Tamiyo. Pass turn here. I could potentially Dark Ritual and play Urza Saga next turn. Given that draw, I think I am going to do that. So, Dark Ritual, Urza's Saga, Barrowgoyf. Opponent can Wasteland Saga. Not happening. Opponent's just going to let me activate it. Then Wrath of the Sky is the stuff that I get. That is fine. In for 3. Opponent to 17. Trigger. Milled over Grindstone. Annoying. But this is a 5/6 now. That's the good news here. Very, very much just trying to go fast here. Like, I'd like to make Urza Saga token twice, get boots, attack in, and then I care less if my opponent does Wrath of the Skies. I hope they don't have Dress Down. That would suck. Make friends. 1/1 friend. Ooh, nice. I'll take it. 2/2 friend. 3/3 friend. 3/3 friend with haste. Combat. 13 incoming damage in theory. A Leyline Binding. That'll take out Barrowgoyf in all likelihood. Yep. Opponent eats 7 damage going to 10. I will drop another Urza's Saga. The Wrath of the Skies is so very good here. Doing it for 1 takes the boots. Oh fuck, I forgot about the enchantment just going. I was so worried about not playing my artifact land. Whoops. I gave my opponent more value than I needed to there. Although honestly, the game is already turning vastly in favor of my opponent since they did have the next white land. I don't remember whether or not I needed to play a land drop to get haste. I don't think I did. I maybe could have played that more conservatively. And Wasteland. Yuck. Alright. Life is bad. I think I'm just doing this now. I do not want to play Draw Go against this person. Not that my opponent just does that at sorcery speed on their turn anyway. That's a Force of Will. Another Brainstorm. That's 4th Aerlingas again. I think we've seen how this goes. Like, if I'm not winning in the early game, my opponent gets the Monarch and up the Beanstalk and Tamiyo, and I just die. I think I'm going to tap out here. This sort of matchup does not seem great for me. GG. Alright, round 4. Leyline of the Void, opening hand. I think I'm just going to use this now. I'm mostly planning on playing an Urza Saga game anyway. So let's just Thoughtseize. If I take Force of Will, I can guaranteed resolve Orcish Bowmasters now, which I think I'm okay with. Then I don't have to worry about days in your face. And then hopefully I don't cast a spell for the rest of the game because Urza Saga just carries. DRC is fine. I'm thinking about whether or not I cast that spell. If I do, my opponent doesn't cast Flow State this turn, or Quarry Steelcutter this turn. I think I'm okay with that. I also think my opponent more or less has to do it, otherwise it represents gross stuff with Grindstone. In for 1. Days is gone. Ooh, that's very bad. Sure thing. Here is a Dauthi Voidwalker. In for 1. Graveyards are double off. Valk comes back down. Got a bunch of my opponent's cards stranded in hand, which is great. In for 4. Opponent to 13. Thought sees you is fine. I'm going to take Corey Steelcutter there. I just don't want my opponent going Corey Steelcutter and Bobble and generating a board presence. Second Volk comes down. There is the flow state. There's a Bobble. My opponent is welcome to crack that if they would like. They would not like. So just quick look over here. These things don't have void counters on them. In for 4 points of damage, bringing opponent to 9. Opponent's still not willing to crack the Bobble. There is another flow state. Ah, they topped their card. Another Douthie. Cool. In we go. Opponent to 5. Fine casting this spell. Opponent is now at the desperation mode. So they will draw a card. Ooh, they've got a lightning bolt for Bowmasters. That's a start. However, I do still have 2 lethal Douthie Voidwalkers in play. So opponent needs to hit land drop, lightning bolt a Douthie, have a lightning bolt for a Douthie the following turn as well. Did not happen. GG. So conceptually, what is my plan here? I would like to resolve the Abyss, and my opponent just dies. That is what gives me the warm and fuzzies. Karn is pretty slow here. Can potentially cut that. I like Damnation. I like Pithing Needle or Wasteland. Hypothetical world where I make those changes. I could maybe board in another Helm. I don't know, my opponent just kind of died somewhat quickly to my creatures anyway. Who needs colored mana? Oh wow, opponent is mulliganing to 5 here. They could have had some bad hands, or they could be thinking to themselves, I need a Corey Steelcutter hand because my normal threats are not valid in this matchup. DRC down immediately. Sure thing. That Douthie's pretty bad. Saga. Rome Mox, imprint the double pip Douthie. Thought sees you after your mulligan. Wasteland is unfortunate. I will take a flow state. Yeah, my hand's pretty bad now. Note that I think I am 100% supposed to play the Thoughtseize around days. I think very, very clearly that is true. It just did not work out. Thank you, City of Traders. That card should just fully not be in my deck. City of Traders should just be more copies of Basic Swamp. I'm very, very confident of that. DRC comes in. Down to 16. That's something. I don't think I cast that Damnation yet. I think I can wait and see if I can clip something else with it. Like, the cost here is 1 point of life per turn. That's pretty low. Opponent keeps their card. I will take 1. 15. Thank you, deck. Now's fine. If I think about what my opponent would have topped that they did not cast, my answer is Brazen Borrower, so I think my Leyline is about to get bounced, which makes DRC more threatening. I'm wrong. Polluted Delta. What did you keep then? I legitimately don't know. Last turn. I know my opponent has a bolt, making this Orcish Bowmasters way worse. I think I'm just going to hold it accordingly. I can deal 1 point of damage per turn with the token. That's not very exciting. Like, sometimes I can use Orcish Bowmasters as a removal spell rather than 1 point of damage to face. Yeah, I'm not going to flinch here. I know they have bolt. This makes a Brainstorm worse if I do this. So I will respond here. Ping face, and now opponent can fetch and bolt me. But now they don't fetch and Brainstorm, and I value that. That's fine. Thank you, deck. Draws so hot right now. 15. Opponent passes back. Oh my god. I'm 15 cards deep. I've seen 2 threats. I guess 3 if you count Urza Saga. 2 non-land threats. Oh my god. In. The little orc that could. That's a land drop from my opponent. Both of our hands apparently terrible. In for 1. I'm just gonna let it be 1, I think. Opponent to 12. We are chilling. Painter's Servant has arrived. In for 1. 11. Painter's Servant. This is just lightning bolt bait is all this is. Everything is black. Ori Steel Cutter has arrived. That's something I don't want to see. Lightning Bolt the Painter. There's not a window for me to ping this. You've got it. I will just take 2 here, that's fine. I'm going to keep holding this card. Like, it's presumably getting better with Ori Steel Cutter in play. Rough. Yeah. Opponent's a 10. I'm going to drop another one of these in play. This is specifically for Brazen Borrower Bounce. I will take some damage. I'm going to keep holding this Bowmasters. Okay, that's a real Magic the Gathering card. I think I do this pre-combat. No way this resolves. There are 6 cards over there. No way this resolves. Daze, Prowess, Trigger. I will pay. Force of Will, Prowess, Trigger. Again, no window for me to ping that with Bowmaster. I will call it a turn there. Surveil Land comes down. Boomerang Basics on my token. Dazing their own card. This might be the point where I finally need to just play my Bowmaster and kill a token, so I take less immediate damage. And then it's just like very, very awkward if my opponent has further interaction. It's somewhat likely that they do. I will attempt to kill a 1/1 token. They're just going to further daze their own spell. The stack clears, opponent has a pile of monks, and I do need to just chump here. What a disaster. I thought opponent was conservatively holding back cantrips, and the answer was that they just had infinite copies of Daze. And I just have all of the mana in the world. I'm dead. GG. Not great for us. We lost to opponent's mulligan of 5 there. We just did not see any of the Barrogoyf, Beseech, Helm, Ring type stuff when we needed to, and that initial Wasteland just instantly won my opponent the game. I think I'm running back the same strategy rather than trying to do this stuff without supporting spot removal. I mean, this has no land. It would be a double mulligan even just to do something like play Douthie Voidwalker. I'm going to say no to that. This is fine. I'm going to keep this, probably get rid of Beseech the Mirror. I am pretty soft to Wasteland here. And Daze is good against my stuff as well. Thundering Falls and Bobble. Cracking Bobble at end step. Bobble redraws. I will drop a Douthie. Okay. I got a package. I am now back. Lost a minute or 2 of time there. I don't think it is going to be an issue at all. Valk comes down. Ori Steel Cutter comes down and has a Bobble with it. I will just take 2 there. No big deal. Opponent does not crack Bobble immediately. I don't really want to play Barrogoyf when it's this small, but it's kind of, if I don't use the mana now, I'm maybe never playing this card. So I'm going to play this card. It's boltable right now. Also dazable. In for 3 with Douthie Voidwalker. I almost wish that I had Shadow Spear as a thing to find. Valk comes down. Lightning Bolt comes down. The monks are here. Pretty annoying. I can use Damnation to try to clean up some of this stuff. It just gets dazed though. So I make a 3/3, a 4/4, 2 5/5s, attack for 10. I can just give up 1 token to attempt to cast Damnation here. I am okay with that. Feels bad to give up this, but with 2 more Urza Sagas coming, I think I just need to do that. Come on. All right. Ori Steel Cutter shit. It's gonna get old fast. I will Leyline. It's so easy for my opponent to cast. Good God. I'm so upset. So much for our main deck, Leyline of the Void deck, being good against the Flow State Murktide Regent DRC deck. I just eat half of my life total despite having played Damnation the previous turn. I think I need to rip Helm of Obedience. That's not Helm of Obedience. Oh, hold on. Wrong Urza Saga, I got Wastelanded. 1, 2. We'll play another one of these. Equip Ori Steel Cutter, sure. I don't know that I ever beat 3 Quarry Steel Cutters with Urza Saga Construct tokens. I think I'm just going to accept the trade here. And again, I think I am hoping to draw Helm of Obedience and win the game that way. Nope. So, token, 3/3. Grindstone? The 3/3, 4/4, 5/5, 6/6. I can attack in for 12. I guess? Oh no, I can't attack in for 12. What am I thinking? I'm making 2 different sets of Urza Saga tokens at the same time. I can attack in for 6, which is probably not even worth doing. I think I'm holding down the fort, hoping to draw a combo piece. Straight up daze. I'm going to die to, like, anything. Like, these are going to be small monks, but any cantrip just represents so much damage. Well, that's a land. We knew about that because of the daze. DRC. I'm dead to any non-creature spell. Block, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Any non-creature spell kills me. Opponent doesn't have anything. Helm! I will float mana here. Get Pithing Needle. Name Quarry Steel Cutter. Helm. Oh shit. I think it's working. Woo! Nice. We won. Admittedly, I knew what I was playing towards, and like I made a couple of aggressive life total saves by sacrificing tokens to monks and by playing Damnation versus monks. But if our main deck Leyline deck is having this much trouble versus a flow state, graveyard synergy deck, this is probably not a good sign that we should actually be playing this deck. GG's. Let's see if we can go positive in this league. Opponent mulligans to 5. Are they oops? Do I get to give them the middle finger instantly? I sure hope so. No. It is Ponder. So what is mulliganing to 5 that has Tropical Island? Show and Tell Allurin hybrid combo, maybe? If I find a Thoughtseize to kind of check my opponent's hand, I can potentially do some sort of Beseech the Mirror combo nonsense. Vault of Whispers. Swamp. Booties. More Ponder. I've got Show and Tell vibes. Vault of Whispers, 2 mana. Dark Ritual, 4 mana. Chromox Imprint Nether Void, 5 mana. Beseech represents a kill. I can sacrifice Lava Spur Boots. I can also just poop a Nether Void into play. Make Show and Tell cost 6. Nether Void might just be Force of Will bait. I'm gonna buy that that's true. Enchant World Nether Void. And it's good enough for a response. Brainstorm. I'm in play. Opponent passes. And now I just need to accumulate some mana. I will probably Chromox the other Leyline of the Void here. Like, that's fine. Bam. So, does my Beseech get, like, way worse with Nether Void in play? Is that a thing? Yeah, that's a thing. So I would Beseech... Ooh, yikes. Oh, it's a flow state. Sure. I think there's a little too much negative synergy in my deck. Like, Beseech doubling up costs on Nether Void, for example, is rough. Maybe I should have just not played the Nether Void. Maybe I should have just jammed. Once the Helm is in my hand, my opponent can't cast Show and Tell anymore. Or I threaten to kill them on the spot. Their Ancient Tomb is also doing a pretty good job of killing them. This is conceptually where I want to just have Urza's Saga. That's a shuffle. It looks like opponent just has a ton of mana. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Need 1 more mana here. Awkward. I can't play out City of Traders because it's City of Traders. Lotus Petal? I guess Nether Void has some interesting text versus Omniscience lines. Thank you, City of Traders. Very cool. I guess now that I've got 2 of them, I will play 1 out. Opponent passes here. Grindstone is a thing. Am I fine with that? I'm fine just casting that. I'm just worried that my opponent has Force of Will now. So, like, if they ponder or something on their turn and tap out a bunch of mana, I feel slightly more comfortable doing what I'm doing. Fetching. Fetching again. That is Show and Tell. I will put in City of Traders. My opponent has Omniscience. So they can pay 0 for their thing and do 3 extra to get a spell. But now I will know that my next spell resolves because of Nether Void. Ancient Tomb, Force of Will, Ponder. I will Grindstone you, I suppose. And some more cards to exile. Stifle. Cunning Wish, Force of Will. Alright. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. So I can put the card that I want to resolve into my hand, but not actually resolve it here. So Beseech the Mirror. And pay. Painter's Servant, I guess, is also lethal. And is easier to cast. Abyss is also a thing. I'll get Painter. So opponent drops a land. A 3 mana Ponder. 0 plus 3. There is a stock up. My opponent will still have 3 mana for Force of Will. And Emrakul would be disastrous, obviously. I will take 7. I'm at 13. Swamp is not going to do it. I guess I'm going to get the Force of Will out of hand. Here is Painter. There is Force of Will. Grind ya. Mill and Emrakul. If I get to the point where I resolve a Painter, I probably should name something like Red that just does not interact with Veil of Summer at all. Get hit for 7. I die in 1 turn. Yeah, I am dead to an Atraxa in the air in a 10-turn game. I think it was a mistake to play Nether Void. We have lost multiple mulls to 5 with this deck. That's probably telling. GG's. I think I just want to kill my opponent here. I think I am interested in a pile of creatures. So let's probably not Abyss. Probably just not. So the Helm of Obedience combo is interesting because if my opponent casts Show and Tell, I can put it in. But having only a single copy of that probably just means that I don't fart around with this stuff. And I just straight up go the beatdown route. Keep the One Ring. Keep Karn, it represents Painter and Grindstone. Keep a Helm, it combos with Douthie. And I could just funnel mana into it and accidentally Emrakul sometimes. I do still have these Leylines here. Does that mean I keep both of these Helms here? Cut 1 random creature. Alright. Yes, I will keep this despite the extreme awkwardness. I will put 1 Leyline of the Void into play and hold the other for a potential Chrome Mox draw. I do have double Urborg here, which is awkward. But I'm very well positioned versus Show and Tell. So I'll take it. Ooh, you gonna turn 1 me? Do it, coward. It is stock up instead. Sure. This is one of the first moments in the entire league where I'm going, a City of Traders right now would be an okay draw. Negative. Last turn. Land drop. Opponent passes. Which means that I get to potentially opposition agent this land, which is pretty cool. Nice. Opponent has the force pitching a flow state. The slightly awkward thing now is that if my opponent Show and Tells this turn, I now don't have mana held up to activate Helm immediately. I would still probably put the Helm into play because if I untap, I get to kill my opponent. But it's definitely awkward. Alright, there's the Show and Tell. I will put in Helm. Opponent has Omniscience. That is an Atraxa. Not having 1 mana here is a big deal. Atraxa finds Disruptor Flute. Alright. Oh, that's some shit. So my opponent can get Force of Will or Brainstorm depending on what the rest of the hand looks like. Stock up, Disruptor Flute. Gross. It feels like this league. Most times I made a decision. I was just terribly punished for that decision. Play Opposition Agent to attempt to cut opponent off land. They have Force of Will blue card, followed by Show and Tell Omniscience Atraxa. Null Rod 2, for good measure. Bonus Omniscience, for good measure. Flow State. Doesn't really matter that it's only looking at 3 cards and getting 1 of them. Alright, I'm just gonna fucking die to a Cunning Wish. Alright, I'm out. So we did put some wins on the board today, but we took some bad beats with this deck. It was fun though. GG's. Alright, let's wrap this up. Overall thoughts on the deck list. I'm glad I played this. I had a good time playing it. I would not want to play this as it stands again. I think City of Traders was very bad. I just wish that was 2 more swamps. I think the deck is very greedy on the number of colorless lands it is playing for a deck that wants turn 1 or 2 black, black, and turn 3 or 4 black, black, black. And then there's also like hard casting Leyline of the Void. I think I just want some more early game plays. Like 13 4-drops is a lot, even if you count Leyline of the Void as something you are not normally hard casting. Like if you count this in this spell, we're still at 9 4-drops, which is a lot. I'm not great at answering stuff as a general statement. Bowmasters is my primary removal other than the Abyss. The Abyss was super cool. When that worked, it was sweet. But like there's just this negative synergy in my deck, right? Where the Abyss can kill my black creatures, the Nether Void makes it hard for me to assemble a combo with Beseech the Mirror. The deck has potential to pull some wins out of nowhere by having multiple different combos, but the Helm combo and the Painter Grindstone combo both get hit by the same shit, right? So like Pithing Needle effects impact both, Null Rods impact both, and some of the silver bullets you are finding with Beseech also get hit by the same cards like Null Rod. So if Painter, Grindstone, and Helm and One Ring are all getting hit at the same time, maybe there should be something like a Shouldered in here that is a non-artifact-based win condition that you can tutor up that is a little chunkier than a Barrow... Well, I guess it's maybe not chunkier than a Barrowglyph, but like that attacks on a different angle for when you have successfully prisoned up. Maybe if you play 2 more swamps, you can get the 4 Thoughtseize in here, take out something like Nether Void. It may just be that you don't want to mess around with Beseech at all, and just filling the deck with things that cost 3 mana or less overall improves the deck. The nice thing about Beseech is that it is Helm while representing other things, but maybe there's too many bullets here. Like maybe in the Orcish Bowmasters world, One Ring isn't that great of a target. Maybe you can take out Karn and just play more Helms. Like just spitballing here. This becomes Thoughtseize, these become Swamps. One Ring, Karn become 2 more Helms. Painter becomes another Helm. Grindstone becomes game 1 Pithing Needle. Or maybe you get a removal spell or 2 in here for Tamiyo. I think it is reasonable to play something that shares a bunch of cards with this. I don't know that this exact combination is quite right. And I will say that this deck list that I'm playing is from like February. So this is like very clearly not tuned to the brand new flow state metagame or anything. I think the most important takeaway lesson from this, though, actually, is that my Leyline of the Void deck still did struggle to beat the flow state decks. They still look at a bunch of cards, and there are outs with things like Brazen Borrower, and Corey Steelcutter felt like a nightmare, and Tamiyo is still Tamiyo. So I think this was cool theory. I don't know how amazing it is going to be overall. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and go pack my suitcase for Vegas. I hope you all enjoyed. If you have any thoughts, throw them down in the comments below. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya!